Blendy here. Yes, I'm taking on the persona of Blendy, for I am going to be reading to you my book, Singinabob. My plan is to record 3 or 4 chapters each week and put them up until I finish reading the whole book, and then to start on the sequel, which is called David and So at the moment. I have started writing it. I haven't finished it, but I need some inspiration to get there. So I think if I manage to read all of Singinabob, then I will be inspired to finish David and So and read it as well. So here we go. We're just going to start right in with chapter 1, and I don't think I'll be doing any other commentary on that book. I'll just be reading each chapter. That's my plan anyway. Okay, enjoy it, I hope. Singinabob, Chapter 1. When I woke up this morning, everything had changed. First of all, where the window had been for the last 15 years of my existence was instead a door. And where the door used to be was a window. This kind of freaked me out. Both of these facts hit my senses within seconds of my eyes opening. Of course, my immediate thought was that I was in the midst of some weird dream, but despite my wishful thinking, somehow I knew that wasn't the reality. Other things were wrong too. The walls were painted a different color. My bed had shrunk from a double to a single. The rug on the floor had been replaced by something that looked like cold, hard cement. I could go on, but suffice it to say I had mixed feelings about getting out of bed and exploring any further. I mean, if my room had totally changed, it followed that so had the rest of the house. Not to mention the outside world. If this was the case, did that mean that my brother Tommy and sister Izzy had disappeared too? Tommy I would miss, but frankly, if Izzy was gone, that would be no big deal. And what about my parents? Gone? Replaced by other parents? New siblings? No siblings? 6 sisters like Izzy? Yikes! I pulled the covers back over my head and spent 5 agonizing minutes trying desperately to go back to sleep, hoping that when my eyes opened again, I would be back in my own room. It didn't work. My attempt to head back to my old house was interrupted by the distinct feeling of someone or something either sitting or landing on my bed. Oh boy, I thought I was freaked out before. I listened for a sound. I waited for movement. Nothing happened. Slowly, I pulled back the covers from over my head. I knew I had to look at the bottom of my bed, but there was absolutely no part of me that wanted to. Well, that's not entirely true. I have to admit that below the intense fear was a place in me that was overwhelmingly curious. Lifting up my head, I turned to face the monster I knew could only be waiting for me. It was there. I stared at it. It stared at me. I opened and closed my eyes 3 or 4 times. It opened and closed its eyes 3 or 4 times. I smiled. It smiled. I relaxed a little bit. I smiled again. It smiled even more. Then it laughed. Not an animal laugh, a human-type laugh, which would have been okay if it was human. But this was no human. At least not completely. It was, well, it was sort of like a dog, cat, porcupine, human thing. The face was cat-like, except instead of whiskers, it had a definite growth of hair hanging down from its chin that could only be described as a beard. The beard was pink. The face was black. The cat ears had been replaced by dog ears, except like really, really long dog ears. Its arms, oh, did I say it had arms? It had arms with very human-like hands. That wasn't so bad, but the arms were covered with what were clearly quills, porcupine quills. The torso was back to being a cat again, a soft fur that was orange-colored with circles of a darker fur. The legs, well, were human. No doubt about it. Normal, smooth skin with regular knees, feet, and toes. But there was something wrong with the toes. There were a lot more of them than 10. My inspection was interrupted by someone saying, "Good morning, David." David? That was me. This was where I was supposed to say good morning back. But who had spoken to me? I looked around the room to see if there was someone else lurking in the shadows, but no one. I said, "Good morning, David. This is where you are supposed to say good morning back to me." It was the creature talking. The dog, cat, porcupine, human thing. "Why, you," I stammered. "Who am I?" "Why, I am Singinabob," said the thing. "Singinabob?" I replied. "No, please," it replied, swinging its porcupine arms precariously close to my head. "That is an insult. Don't you ever call me that again." "Singinabob? How dare you call me by his name? I can't believe." "I am sorry," I said. "Please tell me your name again." After a long pause, the creature replied very slowly, over-enunciating the words. "My name is Singinabob. 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 Singinabob," I tentatively replied. "That's better. Now say it 4 times. Singinabob. 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 Good. Now we need to get down to business. So you and I have work to do. A lot of work to do. And you've just wasted all this precious time staring at me and mispronouncing my name. Get out of bed and let's go." Chapter 2. So, slowly I got out of bed, carefully placing my feet on the floor. I almost expected this to be the place where I woke up and realized that I had been right all along, that this was all just a dream. But my feet hit the floor with a mild thunk, and all that remained was for me to stand up and face whatever Singinabob had planned for me. He was already out the door and out of my view, so I followed, apprehensive as to what I was going to see beyond the room. My apprehension was temporarily relieved when all I encountered was a set of steep, narrow stairs winding their way down to some unknown destination. It was either go back or go down, so down I went, following the spiral staircase around and around for what seemed forever. Finally, I reached the bottom, or at least I reached another door. This one was closed. A sign on the door stated in no uncertain terms, "Do not go beyond this point unless you are a genuine friend of Singinabob. All others will be terminated." And then in brackets, "This includes you, Singinabob." What should I do? I thought to myself. Should I consider myself a friend of Singinabob? What did the word genuine imply? Why was it in italics? I've always been curious. Sometimes it pays off and sometimes it doesn't. But you never know unless you try. I turned the handle and went through. I was outside. Not my outside from my home, but outside somewhere. I looked for something, anything familiar. Nothing was the same, not even the weather. Back home it had been mid-December, everybody gearing up for Christmas. Here it was more like July. I was on a side street, much like the street I lived on, but it was not the street I lived on. Nowhere did I see any signs of life. It was a bit eerie. "Hello," a voice said right beside me. I turned to see another person, and when I say person, I mean human. A boy about my age, without any cat parts or porcupine quills. Rather than being frightened, Something made me immediately trust him. Part of it was the way he said hello. His voice was gentle, soothing, very unlike the demanding voice of Singinabob. Part of it was just his looks. He looked so, well, good. I know that sounds weird, but I don't know how else to explain it. I felt absolutely no fear when I was looking at him, like nothing bad could happen to me. "Hi," I said. "Who are you?" "My name," he started and then stopped. His eyes scrunched up and his face took on a worried look. "My name," he started again and stopped. Honestly, he almost looked like he was going to cry. "What's wrong?" I asked. He let out a sigh. "Well, David, and yes, I do know your name. I know all about you, actually. You see, I work with Singinabob. I'm kind of his assistant. So, I know how much trouble you had with Singinabob's name. I guess I'm afraid to tell you my name because it's like, a little weird too, and I don't want you to make the same mistake you made with Singinabob." "Okay," I said. "I think I get it. Just tell me. I can take it." "Okay. Well, my name is Sagubata Dukuba." "Ha!" was my immediate response. "I'm sorry. I guess I shouldn't laugh. I mean, it's your name, right? I wouldn't like it if someone laughed at my name. Really, it's okay. I like your name. I like it. But, well, I just don't think I can pronounce it. I mean, that sounds even harder than Singinabob." "Well, you can just call me So if you want." "So?" I said. "Yes, So." He spelled out the letters, as in S-O. "Well, So, give me your real name again. I want to hear it." "Sagubata Durguba." "I think I can do that. Can you say it slowly?" "Sure. Sagubata Durguba." "Okay, that's not so hard. Oh, let me try it." "Sabugada Dubababa," I said proudly, thinking that I had got it right the first time. "No," he said emphatically, and then immediately apologized. "I'm sorry. Let's just leave it at So, okay? It might be better." "What you mean is I just messed up your name and said someone's name who was a horrible and evil monster, like," and here I whispered, "Singinabob." Now So laughed. "Yes, but you don't have to whisper Singabob's name when it's just me around. Just don't mention him when we are with Singinabob. But yes, the name you mentioned is not a nice person, and I don't like someone confusing us." "All right. So sounds good to me then. So? And here I stopped as I realized that still sounded a little weird. "I mean, you just said that you knew all about me. What did you mean by that? What exactly do you know about me? And why do you know about me? And while we're on that topic, where are we? And before I answer all your questions, David," interrupted So, "I have a suggestion. We're supposed to meet up with Singinabob soon, and I don't know about you, but I'm hungry. Let's go get something to eat and we can talk." I hadn't realized how hungry I was until So mentioned it. I was starving. "Okay," I said. We started walking. So didn't talk, seeming intent on getting to wherever we were going. I just followed. I wanted to look around and take in my new environment, but I realized I was having trouble taking my eyes off So. There was something almost magnetic about him. We turned down an alleyway, making our way past the back of buildings. I finally began to notice things. People going about their business, shopkeepers taking out the garbage. Someone riding a bike approached us and carried on, not bothering to even glance at us. All the time my eyes kept coming back to So. Why was I so mesmerized by him? He turned to look at me. "Come close," he said. I wasn't exactly sure what he meant. Come close? To him? Why? So walked towards me. I began to back up. "Stop," he said, using such a gentle voice that I had no choice but to follow his instructions. "It's okay. I just need to tell you something, and I need to whisper it in your ear." He came right up next to me and leaned right into my body, his mouth next to my ear. "Just follow me," he said. "We are going through another door. There will be someone, or should I say something, on the other side that will ask you a question. Don't say anything except what I'm going to tell you right now. Do you understand?" I turned to look at him. Our faces were nearly touching. I could feel the warmth of his breath on my face. "Okay," I said, still kind of mesmerized. "What do I have to say?" He leaned right against me. I could actually feel his lips touching my ear. Anyone else and I would have pushed them away and told them to keep their distance. "When you see whoever it is on the other side of the door," he said, "try not to react in any way, shape, or form. Just wait for the question. They will ask you the following question: what is Singinabob's word? And you must reply without hesitation. The answer is dig-a-dog-a-dig-a-doo." I pulled away from So. I looked at him. I smiled. And I laughed. "You're kidding me, right? This is all a big joke. I mean, come on. Stop!" This time, he actually did scare me. He was serious. "Don't say it out loud." His voice became quieter again. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you, but please, you have to trust me. I know this seems all really weird to you, maybe even silly. We, and especially you, are in extreme danger. I've been trying to remain calm because I wanted you to be calm. But you've got to take me seriously. Now, whisper what I told you back into my ear, and I mean whisper." Again, I had no choice but to trust him. I leaned in and whispered in his ear, "Dig-a-dog-a-dig-a-doo." "Good. Now keep saying that over and over. We're about 5 minutes away from where we are going. I can't ask you to repeat it again when we get closer. Others may be listening. Don't forget it. Are you okay? Will you remember it?" The fact that dig-a-dog-a-dig-a-doo was such a silly word actually made it easier to memorize than to say ga-goo-ba-da, or whatever So's real name was. "Yes," I replied, "I'll remember it." We proceeded along the alleyway, occasionally seeing people doing their thing, but not anyone who paid any attention to us. After the allotted 5 minutes, So turned into the back of one of the shops. I could see a door ahead. It was a plain door. As we got closer, I could see it had just one marking on it. The upper left-hand corner contained the picture of a cat, like this. So turned to look at me. He didn't say anything, but I could tell he was asking me if I remembered what I had to do. I nodded my head. So turned back and opened the door. We went in. The door shut behind us. It was pitch black. I couldn't see anything, not even So right in front of me. Suddenly, I felt someone grab my arms and pull them behind my back, wrenching my shoulders almost out of their sockets. A voice from behind me said in a harsh voice, "What is your name?" That wasn't the question that So had said I would be asked. I wasn't sure if I should answer or not, but before I could answer, the voice said even louder, "What is your name?" I don't know why, but I had the feeling that I shouldn't tell this voice what my name was. I don't know why I was so sure about that, but for whatever reason, I kept my mouth shut. Whoever it was that had my arms in a vice grip tightened their hold on me even more. "Just tell me what your name is, and I'll let go of your arms." That still wasn't the right question. I kept my mouth shut. Then I heard So say, "It's okay, David. Tell him your name." My mouth opened, and I got out the D of David before my intuition plus some logic caused me to stop. Who knows where intuition comes from, but the logic, well, it was just logical. The voice that was So's was coming from behind me. But So had entered in front of me, and my sense was that he was still there. So whoever was telling me it was okay, well, I didn't believe it to be so. I kept my mouth shut. The grip of my arms tightened even more. It was all I could do not to cry out. Tears were starting to stream down my face. "What is Singabob's word?" Despite my pain, despite desperately wanting to answer, I still knew something was wrong. That was the right question, wasn't it? I thought to myself. No, there was something wrong with it. I repeated the question in my head that So had given me. What is Singinabob's word? But that wasn't what I was just asked. Another tightening of my arms. What is the word? The voice demanded. What is Singinabob's word? That was it. Before he had said Singabob, not Singinabob. Now he was saying Singinabob. Now I should answer. So had said to answer promptly, and here I was having a conversation in my head. What was the word? Dogga dogga digga doo? I repeated to myself. No, that was wrong. Digga dogga digga doo suddenly burst out of my mouth, full volume. Immediately, the hands let go of my wrists and my arms moved back around to the front of my body where they were supposed to be. I don't think anything in my whole life had ever felt so good. The light came on. So was standing in front of me with a smile on his face, but he was crying. Tears were flowing down his face. You did good, David. You did really good, he managed to say. I thought you were going to say, or then he would have, but it's okay. You got it right. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You followed your feelings and your intuition. You do have special powers. You are the right one. I am so happy. Chapter 3. Seesaw and Mouse Burgers. I looked around me. The room was empty, except for So and I. No sign of who had pinned my arms behind my back. I was confused. Too much had happened at once. Less than 24 hours ago, I had been asleep in my own bed and had parents, a brother Tommy, and a horrible little sister named Izzy. Now that seemed like another life. A life lived a long, long time ago. Even the memory of Singinabob on my bed with his cat face and porcupine arms seemed like a long time ago. Everything was overshadowed by my meeting So, and then being tortured. Yes, tortured. That's what it had felt like. I mean, obviously, I've never been tortured before, so I didn't have anything to compare it with, but my arms and shoulders were still really, really sore. And here was So in front of me. This boy who just minutes ago I was totally mesmerized by. But why had he stood by while whoever it was had crunched my arms behind my back and asked me irrelevant questions before getting to the right one for Singinabob's secret word? I had so many questions, I didn't know which one to ask first. I just stood there staring at So and watching the tears stream down his face. I'm sorry you had to go through that, David, said So, beginning to regain his composure. This all must seem very strange to you. Strange? I said, finding my voice. Strange does not begin to describe how I feel. Why am I here? Where is Singinabob? Who was holding my arms, and where did they go? What would have happened to me if I had answered one of the questions wrong? What did you mean when you said I followed my feelings? What feelings? And special powers? Me? You said I'm the right one. The right one for what? And why are you crying? You barely know me. This all came out in one long, steady stream of words, by the end of which there was some anger in my voice. Again, I'm sorry, said So. You have every right to be angry, but I assure you, everything that has happened so far has happened for a reason. Come, we need to eat, and while we are doing that, I'll see if I can explain. So moved off, and not knowing what else to do, I followed. We went through another door, this one without any warning signs or pictures of cat heads. And once on the other side, no one offered to pull my teeth or something equally torturous. We were in a room that looked like some sort of cafeteria. There were several tables and chairs spread throughout the room, none of them occupied. So led me to one of the tables and we sat down. He tapped the table and a menu appeared in front of both of us. Before I had time to comment on the menu, a door opened at the other end of the room, and someone, or should I say, came through and headed directly towards our table. He, she, it stopped in front of us and looked at me, and in a very deep voice said, "Hi, David. Welcome to Seesaw's Servable Sustenance." I could only stare. I seemed to be doing a lot of that lately. I'd like to say that this creature was weird, but after Singinabob, this guy, although completely different, was actually not so bad. He had a pig-like face. No, I'm sorry, that's not correct. Let me try that again. He had the face of a pig, exactly like a pig. In fact, if you took a pig, cut off its head, and stuck it on a human body, you would be looking at what I was looking at. So was looking at me. "David, I'd like you to meet Seesaw." Seesaw stuck out his hand to shake mine, and it was only then I realized that although his pig head was attached to a human body, his hands were the hands, feet, claws of a pig. I'd never shaken a pig's paw before, clearly, but being the polite guy I am, I stuck out my hand. "How do you do, Seesaw?" I said. "I'm good. Very good, David. We are all so very happy that you are here. Now, what can I get you?" continued Seesaw. "The special today is Bagadoga with a side of Dogabaga." Bagadoga with a side of Dogabaga? I looked at So. "I'll have the burger and fries," Seesaw, So said. "I suspect David will have the same." Yeah, that sounds good. Burger and fries," I said. "Coming right up. Now, do you want your burger with ground mouse, ground spider, or ground cinchi?" asked Seesaw. My eyes suddenly got very big, and I think my mouth was hanging open. Fortunately, So replied for us. "I wondered, Seesaw, this is David's first day here, and he's not used to our usual fare. Do you have any ground beef?" "Ground beef?" said Seesaw. Let me check. I might have some left over from when the last boy was here." "Thank you, Seesaw," said So. "I think David would appreciate that." With that, Seesaw left. I looked at So. So was looking at me. "Do you want some answers now, David?" asked So. Now that So was ready to give me answers, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to hear, what he had to say. I guess I was feeling nervous, especially about the part where I was the right one, or, even more scary, my special powers. I'd never felt very special about myself. In fact, during the last year or so, since I turned 13, I'd been feeling very self-conscious, like I was different than everyone else. And not different in a good way either. I had a few friends, but I wasn't sure they even liked me anymore. It was like I didn't have anything in common with them. "You are very special, David," So started, not waiting for a response from me. "You may not realize it, but you have a gift. When you are under pressure, you have the ability to make the right decision based solely on your intuition. While everyone else around you might be trying to decide what to do by thinking about the situation rationally, you don't do that. You just decide and act. This is a rare gift. Almost everyone I know, including myself, can't do what you do. We have to weigh the possibilities of all the choices available to us and then make what we think of as a logical decision. But you don't worry about doing that. Some people would call your decision-making rash or accuse you of acting without thinking. But in reality, your gift allows you to go beyond what most people can do. Does this make any sense to you?" "I understand," I said, "the part about making rash decisions. My mom and dad are always telling me I don't think before I act. They're worried I'm going to get into big trouble someday." "Yeah, that makes sense," said So. "That's because they have to think before they act, or they would be in trouble. But you don't have to. You're different, and different in a good way." This was the exact opposite of what I was just thinking about myself. So continued. You were picked because of this ability. We studied you, or should I say, I studied you, for a long time before making sure you had all the qualities needed. What do you mean, you studied me? I asked. If you were studying me, how come I didn't see you? That's kind of hard to explain right now. Let's just say I have my talents too. And one of them is being able to study people without them knowing it. Just then, Seesaw brought in our food. Wow! The burger and fries just looked like a burger and fries. I realized I was ravenous, but just before I took a huge bite of my burger, I thought of Seesaw asking us if we wanted ground mice, ground spider, or cinchi. What the heck is cinchi anyway? The meat between the bun looked like beef, but on the other hand, I wasn't sure what ground mouse looks like. So had already taken a huge bite of his burger and was looking at me, looking at my burger. He started to laugh. David, I'm sorry. I can assure you this is beef. Right, Seesaw? Seesaw was still standing there looking at both So and I. Well, I don't know why anyone would turn down fresh ground mouse or spider or even cinchi for that matter for ground beef. Personally, I can't stand the taste of the stuff. I don't even like cooking it. However, David, So is right. This is definitely beef, no doubt about it. My whole kitchen smells like I just slaughtered a cow in there. That's why I'm hanging around here. I don't want to go back in there until the smell has dissipated. I took a bite, chewed and swallowed. It was delicious. This is the best burger I've ever tasted, Seesaw. Thank you. Seesaw smiled, a big smile. You're welcome, David. I'll leave you two alone now, so just call if you need anything. Thank you, Seesaw. It is always a pleasure to be back in your kitchen, and I promise you we'll be back soon for one of your specials. Seesaw left. You mean the bag-a-dogga with the side of dogga-bagga? I asked So, trying not to laugh. Believe it or not, that's my favorite meal. So put his hand up in the air to stop me as I was just getting ready to ask another question. No, don't ask. I don't know what bag-a-dogga or dogga-bagga is. I really don't. All I know is that it tastes really good. Someday we'll try it. I'd finished my burger, was working on my fries. I looked at So. So, I said, there is still a lot I don't know. You explained what you say are my special abilities, but you also said I'm the one. I'm the one what? What does that mean? And you still haven't told me who twisted my arms and why they asked all the wrong questions first. I know, David. There is a lot I haven't told you. Where do I start? Well, you know, of course, about Singinabob. Singinabob? That dirty rascal, that no-good, filthy dog, that slow-witted, good-for-nothing, two-timing, chicken-thieving, overeating, slovenly, two-bit goat. Singinabob. Where the heck had he come from? He was just suddenly there, with his porcupine arms, cat face, and dog ears. Hi, Singinabob, said So. Hi, sir, I said, afraid to say his name aloud for fear of getting it wrong again. Why are you mentioning that scoundrel's name, So? You know the rules about that. You, of all people, should know never to mention his name, especially in my presence. I know, replied So. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were there, or here, or, well, you know what I mean. So actually looked flustered. For the first time, I had seen him like that since I met him. Well, I can see David passed the test. That's good news then. Hurry up and finish eating. We've got work to do. We didn't bring David down here just to sit around eating mouse burgers. I'm pretty sure it was a hamburger, sir, I offered. Whatever, replied Singinabob. Mouse, ham, spider, they all taste the same to me. I was just about to explain our mission to David when you arrived, said So. He knows he has a special gift, but that's about all he knows at this point. Well, he doesn't need to know anything else right now. We have to move. We have a job to do right now. Explanations can wait until later. With that, Singinabob turned his back and started walking away from us towards a door. A different door from the one we had entered. Just as he reached it, he turned around and glared at both So and I. Well, come on, don't just sit there. Both So and I jumped out of our seats and followed Singinabob, who had already disappeared through the door.